Hello, today we are going to talk about X-ray diffraction from crystals. W. L. Bragg and W. H. Bragg, they explained the X-ray diffraction from crystals. Suppose that the incident beam reflected from a parallel planes of crystals, planes of atoms in the crystals. Each plane reflects only about 10 raised to minus 3 to 10 raised to minus 5 fraction of the beam. Let us consider the elastic scattering of the X-rays from the crystals. Elastic scattering means the energy of X-ray will not change with the reflection. So the energy of incident and the reflected beam are same. So let us consider the X-ray diffraction from planes of atoms in the crystals. So X-ray is incident at this plane with an angle theta. So theta be the angle between the plane and incident X-ray. So let us consider two rays incident at successive planes. So this is a mirror-like reflection or specular reflection. So the angle of incidence will be equal to angle of reflection. So D is the interplanar spacing, and an X-ray beam is incident with an angle theta with the plane, and we have shown two rays, one and two, which are reflecting from successive planes. So the path difference can be calculated. You know how to calculate path difference. So we have drawn perpendicular from this thing. This is L, this is M, and this is P, this is Q. So the path difference is equal to LQ plus QM. Okay. If this angle is theta, this angle also theta. Okay. This angle also theta. So this will be equal to L LQ is equal to d sine theta and QM also d sine theta. So this is equal to 2d sine theta. Okay. The path difference between the waves reflected from the successive plane is 2d sine theta. Now, to see the reflected wave, that is for consecutive interference, this path difference should be equal to n lambda for constructive interference. Okay. So here, what is n? N is an integer. N is an integer. So therefore, we can write combining these two equations for consecutive interference. 2d sine theta is equal to n lambda. So this is the Bragg's law. So to occur consecutive interference, the condition for the wavelength and the spacing and the theta is equal to 2d sine theta is equal to n lambda. So the value of n, the smallest value is n is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. If n is equal to 1, then 2d sine theta is equal to lambda. N is 1, 2d sine theta is equal to lambda. So that means what? Sine theta maximum value is 1. Therefore, lambda is always less than or equal to 2d. So this is the condition for the X-ray diffraction to occur. So lambda should be always less than 2d. Okay, that means the wavelength of the wave used for scattering is always less than or equal to the twice the interplanar space. So that's why we cannot use. Therefore, we cannot use visible light. Visible light. That's why X-rays are preferred. Okay. So this equation can be used for not only X-rays. This can be used for electron scattering, neutron scattering, and other photon scattering, okay, as well. But the condition is the wavelength should be less than equal to 2D. Okay, so for to study the crystal structure, the X-ray scattering can be used, or neutron scattering or electron scattering also are used. The Bragg's law does not tell us any information regarding the basis of atoms corresponding to each lattice points. The basis of atoms determines the relative intensity of different orders of diffraction from a given set of parallel planes. ആറ്റമാണ് തീരുമാനിക്കുന്നത്, അതായത് ഓരോ ലാറ്റിസ് പോയിന്റിലുള്ള ആറ്റംസ് ആണ് തീരുമാനിക്കുന്നത് എന്താണ് ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ഓർഡേഴ്സ്, റിലേറ്റീവ് ഇൻറ്റൻസിറ്റി ഓഫ് ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ഓർഡേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് ഡൈഫ്രാക്ഷൻ. നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ എൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന എൻ ലാംഡ, അപ്പോൾ എൻ ഇക്വൽ ടു 1 എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഫസ്റ്റ് ഓർഡർ ആണ്, എൻ ഇസ് ഇക്വൽ ടു 2 എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് സെക്കൻഡ് ഓർഡർ ഡിഫ്രാക്ഷൻ കറസ്പോണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഓരോ സൈറ്റിലുള്ള നമ്പർ ഓഫ് ആറ്റംസ്, സോ അത് ദാറ്റ് ഡിറ്റർമിൻസ് ദ റിലേറ്റീവ് ഇൻറ്റൻസിറ്റി ഓഫ് ദീസ് ഓർഡേഴ്സ്. അപ്പോൾ ഇൻറ്റൻസിറ്റിയെക്കുറിച്ച് ഒരു ഇൻഫർമേഷനും ബ്രാഗ്സ് ലോയിൽ പറയുന്നില്ല. Therefore, a deeper analysis is required to determine the scattering intensity from the basis of atoms or from the electron distribution in each cell. We know that a crystal is invariant under any translation. Okay. We know that a crystal is invariant under any translation T. That is, T is equal to U1 A1 vector plus U2 times A2 vector plus U3 times A3 vector, where A1, A2, A3 are the periodicity in each direction, crystal axis. Therefore, all the local physical properties are periodic functions of the same periodicity A1, A2, A3. Okay, that means the charge concentration, electron number density, magnetic properties, these repeated with the period A1, A2 and A3 in each direction. So the translation of this kind will not change the crystal. So the crystal is invariant under the translation of this kind. Thus the electron number density n of r can be written as n of r plus t vector. Okay. So since this is n of r is equal to n of r is periodic, we can write any periodic function as a Fourier series. So this n of r also can be written as Fourier expansion or Fourier series in one dimension. You can write this as n of x. Okay, n of x with a period a in x direction. So therefore we can write n of x as the Fourier series, that is n0 plus sum of Cp cos 2 pi p by a x plus Sp sin 2 pi p by a x. So we can write n of x can be like this, n of x as a Fourier series, n of x is equal to n0 plus sum of cosine terms and sum of sine terms. Here p are positive integers. Okay, Cp and Sp are Fourier coefficients. So we can write like this thing, because n of r is a periodic function. All periodic function can be written in the form of Fourier series. Thus we can say that this 2 pi p by a is a point in Fourier space or in the reciprocal lattice. 2 pi p by a are points in the reciprocal lattice or in the Fourier space. So in 1D these points lie in a line. In 3D these points lie in space, that means three-dimensional space. Let us draw a periodic function n of x. So this is a periodic function. Okay. For example, this is a periodic function in this axis, n of x in this axis, and here x. Okay. So the periodicity is A. A is the periodicity of the lattice, and the corresponding reciprocal lattice. So n of x can be written as the Fourier series, and the points 2 pi p by a are the reciprocal lattice points, or points in the reciprocal lattice. Therefore, we can write. So here, this is the reciprocal lattice. Here, 2 pi p. So this is 0. 2 pi p by a. 2 pi by a. This is 4 pi by a. Yep. 6 pi by a. 8 pi by, and negative in the negative ratio, minus 2 pi by a, minus 4 pi by a, minus 6 pi by a. So corresponding to n of x, there are these all terms contribute. So here in this axis, this is x, this is actually 1 by a, 2 pi by a. Okay, so this can be written as, in general, this is the reciprocal lattice vector G. The reciprocal lattice points tell us the allowed terms in the Fourier series, which is consistent with the periodicity of the lattice. N of x can also be written as summation. You can combine this summation n p exponential e raised to I 2 pi p by a. Here the summation is for all integers, positive, negative, and 0. This n of np are complex coefficients, but n of x is the number density at x position x, so that is real. N of x is real. To make sure n of x is real, there is a condition, n minus p of complex conjugate of n minus p should be equal to n. Then only the n of x will be real, because np are complex, so that n of x is real. By using this n minus p complex conjugate is equal to np. So using this, you can prove that. So in three dimension, this n of r is equal to summation nt exponential e raised to I g dot r where g is equal to g is the reciprocal lattice vector. G is the translation vector in reciprocal lattice. It is analogous to the translation vector t, in the real lattice. Reciprocal lattice means, in this lattice, the dimension of each axis is proportional to the reciprocal of the dimension of the real lattice. Okay. So here 2 pi p by a. So this 1 by a gives this is why it is called a reciprocal lattice. Okay. So this is proportional to 1 by a. So G is proportional to 1 by a. That's why it is called a reciprocal lattice vector. And the summation is for all G. So this is the equation of the Fourier series in 3 dimensions. Because n is the electron number density, which is a periodic function, because a crystal obeys the translation symmetry. That means it is invariant under any translation. So that translation, so the n of r, if it is periodic, you can write it in terms of Fourier series. So if this is the Fourier series in 3 dimensions. Here G represents the reciprocal lattice vector, and that means translation vector in reciprocal lattice, and R is the question vector in the real lattice. So we have nx, is equal to summation p np exponential 2 pi p by a. So this, the complex coefficient np can be written in the form of inverse Fourier series. So that is 1 by a integral 0 to a n of x e raised to, that means exponential, minus, here it will be, I will be there, here I will be there, I 2 pi p x by a into dx. In 3 dimension, ng is equal to 1 by a is the dimension in one axis. So instead of that, it will become a volume. Okay, so it's a length, but it will become a volume of the crystal Vc. So we have to take all integral over all the cell in x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So a1 axis, a2 axis, and a3 axis. Therefore, we can write n of r exponential minus I e dot r into degree. Here Vc is the volume of a cell in the crystal. So we can compare the real lattice and reciprocal lattice once more. Number density of one-dimensional crystal is shown in this figure. Here this is x dimension, that is x direction. Only one axis is there, one-dimensional crystal. It is a one-dimensional crystal. So this axis is x-axis, and the periodicity, that means the crystal repeats after a distance a. And correspondingly, in the reciprocal lattice, the dimension is 1 by a. It's proportional to 1 by a. That's why it is called a reciprocal lattice. So 2 pi by a, 0, 2 pi by a, then 4 pi by a, 2 pi p by a actually. So p can have 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay. So 2 pi by a, 4 pi by a, 6 pi by a. So the points in the reciprocal lattice is separated by 2 pi by a distance, so which is proportional to 1 by a. So that's why it is called a reciprocal lattice. Okay, so we will discuss the remaining thing in the next class. We will find out the reciprocal lattice vectors in the next class.